Hello, welcome to E&T Video. We're at Abbey Road Studios to talk to mastering engineer Sean McGee about the TG console, Abbey Road online mastering service and the Beatles in mono. The TG transfer console made its debut at Abbey Road in the early 1970s. The TG 12410, to give it its model number, was designed and built entirely by in-house engineers at EMI's Central Research Laboratories. A solid-state transistor-based design, it replaced the red valve desks of the previous decades and is still in use every day.
It was designed by Mike Batchelor, I think his name was, well before my time. And it was in conjunction with the cutting engineers, and they came out with a desk which is ideally suited for transferring audio to vinyl, with a nice bunch of frequencies which are musically related. It was a joint effort, really. This desk has probably only been switched off half a dozen times in the last 10 years. They survived, they're built well. There's some EQ there, and we have the compressor limiters, the input unit, we have the filter unit, and we have the vertical amplitude limiter for restricting out-of-phase bass components, etc. in vinyl cutting. Monitoring units, check units, and these are two more modern additions. Now these are in-house as well. This carries on the tradition, really, of design and build and modification of stuff to suit our purposes. There's, for instance, here the Moscow box, which is a routing control, so you decide what piece of equipment in which order happens. So there's a source and there's a destination, and what you decide to send it through is in what order you like. So the desk can be inserted and taken out. The digital stuff can be taken in and out depending on which order you want them. Makes it very flexible. Actually simplifies the whole process. I know how it behaves and I know what to expect from the curves, but more importantly, I know the sound of the room and what things should sound like in here. That's probably more important than what the EQ does. It's like how it actually translates in the speakers in this environment.
Abbey Road Studios has recently introduced an online mastering service whereby anyone in the world can upload their music to the Abbey Road engineers for final mastering, ready for output to vinyl or CD.
An artist or a producer has spent the last 6 or 8, 9 months, 3 months even, very much in the subjective world of listening to their mixes in a musical way, i.e. the construction, the way the thing blends, chord changes, how something is actually played. Whereas we're listening kind of subjectively, but in a very objective way. And we're a third pair of ears. We've never heard it before, and what we hear is the noise that comes out the speakers. And it's just like, that's a problem, or that could be a problem. Something that they possibly couldn't hear in the environment that they were in, or missed because they weren't listening to it in that way, or had their heads buried so far in the process. The rooms are with some small exceptions. The monitoring, for instance, in the rooms is all different. But we've designed the rooms so that they are almost identical, so anybody can go into that room and drive it without having to worry about how the hell do I get monitoring out of here. The things that may be different are like A to Ds, D to As, monitoring, for instance, and maybe the odd compressor, but otherwise they're identical. We've been doing online mastering for a considerable amount of time. Really, it's just this online mastering is it's a newer front end on it, where people have more control about. They can set up the system, decide what tracks they want to put. They upload it themselves, and then they pay. So it takes some of the admin away from us. So and again, it's a great thing because it allows people from all over the world who maybe haven't got the budgets to travel to get stuff mastered here through the vintage gear quickly and easily.
Sean McGee was also the principal mastering engineer responsible for the Beatles mono box set, released in September 2009, which features the 10 Beatles albums originally mixed expressly for mono release in the 1960s.
Why put mono out? Well, that's pretty much what they regarded as the most important thing when they originally did it, because when they were recording the Beatles and mixing the Beatles, more time was spent on the monos. By quite an amount. There's one session, I think it was Please Please Me. They did a 3-hour session, and 2.5 hours was spent on the mono, and half an hour spent on the stereos. The only difference between working with mono and stereo is the effect that a small change has that you make. You might want to affect, say, the voice, or you might want to affect a guitar or something like that. The effect of everything else, effect on everything else around it, is much more dramatic in mono than it is in stereo. You haven't got like well, let's just stick that over there, then it doesn't interfere with that there, and then we can pan that over there, and there's some air in between it. In mono, it's just like, bam, it's there. Or the orchestra, the band, the sound effects, everything have to happen right in front of you. Some of the later albums, like Sgt. Pepper, for instance, and even the White Album particularly, there's a hell of a lot of noise and sound going on, and they've got this in the center, in one channel in the center, and it's coming out the center of your speakers, and it's got a feeling of space and air and width even. So it's quite something, really. The whole remaster series was a massive team effort. In reality, it took about a year of man hours for 7 people. A lot of soul searching, a lot of scratching of heads. Did we need to do that? And could we then maybe not do that? And what do we all think? You're not there to change things. That's not the remit within remastering. You're there to improve something. And if what you're doing is changing it rather than improving it, you don't do it. You're not doing anybody any favours by doing that, and people will hate you through history for doing it.